guys, what's up? This is Justin with CNS Construction. Just want to talk to you a little bit today about writing contracts. Something I like to do with my contracts is I like to do like an itemized list on there of all the things that I am going to do on the project that I'm bidding. So there's no confusion if they have another company that comes in and they just write something out and they just basically say, we're replacing the roof, this is how much it's costing. So they're going to go in and replace the roof. It'll cost you $10,000 for replacing your roof. Okay, what's in there that you're doing? I mean, I know you're going to replace it, but are you tearing it off? Are you putting ice and water down? Are you doing two rows of ice and water because there's over 2 foot of overhangs? And what are you doing? So I like to take and do like an itemized list on there stating that I'm coming in, I'm ripping the existing roof off. That'd be line 1. So line 1 would be removing existing roof down to decking. Line 2 would be looking over existing roof to make sure there's no rotten sheets. And then I continue on in that, stating that if there is any rotten sheets on there, that I am going to be looking for that, and if there is, I will get with the customer, I will talk with the customer about that, and it's going to be a change order. So they know and I know that that's not in the contract itself that I'm looking at, because that is going to be a change order. You don't know without opening the roof up if there's any bad decking, unless it's really bad. So that there's no confusion, I just put that in there. Never had any complaints about it. Usually people agree to it and really like that I'm being so forthcoming with that. So then line 3 would be saying installing ice and water along the eaves and in valleys. Now, in my area, code here is if there's 2 feet or more of an overhang, you have to have 2 rows of ice and water, or even 3 rows, depending on the pitch of the roof and the size of the overhang. Excuse me, guys. So depending on the pitch of the roof, the size of the overhang, that can all determine that I may need a 3rd row on there. So you've got to get into the heated area. The ice and water is to protect the non-heated area of your existing roof over those overhangs from ice building up. So in my area, it's like a minimum of 2 foot, and then I need the ice and water into the heated space. At least 2 foot of that ice and water has to be in there. Then after that, I stayed in there that I'm putting installing new synthetic underlayment down. Then my next line item would state that I'm putting new drip edge on there, so that there's no confusion that I'm jipping them by using existing drip edge. So I've got all that covered so that there's no mistakes and anybody saying, well, you weren't doing this, you didn't do this. No, I did. This is what I did. Also, it's good to not only do that, but document with pictures while you are working. Not only for your records for when you are, if you get into an argument with the customer about what you did, but it's also good for your records. If you have a Facebook page or something, you can easily post some of those pictures to your Facebook or put it in a portfolio so you can have pictures of your works to show people. So not only do I do that, but I'll go on even farther to write down after, on the next line after the synthetic, that I installing new Owens Corning duration shingles. I spell it out on what product I'm using, then there's no confusion on what product that I am using. And it's a 30-year shingle. So I got that wrote down, 30-year shingle on there. Next thing you want to do after that is installing ridge cap and ridge vent, so that they know you're putting a ridge vent in there. If they don't see it, then they're going to come back and they're going to say, hey, you said right here you're doing ridge vent, but there's no ridge vent. Then once all that is done, below that I have in there that I want half down to start the job. That covers my materials to get right out of the gate. So I collect half down if we can agree on it. We sign the contract. And when I put in there that I want half down, I take a calculator, I cut it in half, and I write down there so there's no confusion how much half down is. If it's over, I think it was if I do over $20,000 worth of work, after I get my half down, I also write it in my contracts to do quarter draws. So what that is allowing is every quarter. So I start the job and I get a quarter of the way through the job, I can make a draw and get a quarter of what's left of that original amount. Then halfway through, I can collect another draw. 3/4 of the way through, I can collect another quarter, and then so forth until I get to the very end. And when I get to the very end, I have it wrote in that same area that final balance is due on day of completion. So if the homeowner is not home when I'm packing up and leaving, I can come back later that day and I can collect. Or I can call them up and say, hey, where are you at? Can I meet you? I'm done. Take your pictures, show them your pictures, make sure that they see what you're doing. And I try and have a contract there with me, or a final bill I should say, so that when I get the check, I can hand that to them and there's a final bill for them so that they have for their records. Now if they want like a check number wrote on it, I can either write it on there or I can take it home. I can have it wrote down on that final bill that I got. I can write it down on there, everything they want, and then I can email it over. A lot of my customers like me doing that. Then they have it in an email, they can print it off, and there's no handwritten information on there. They can read it easily because it's now typed. So do that. See if their customers want to have it emailed. I'll also go on to say, after all that with the money, that this quote is good for 30 days. Because my area, and it's pretty well nationwide, building materials go up and down consistently. And it's been a little bit since building materials have gone up, but like if we have oil, if the oil prices spike, then yes, your roofing materials are going to increase because there is oil in asphalt shingles. Asphalt has oil, so crude oil goes up, asphalt shingles go up. So now you've got that covered in there. So if they come back after 60 days after wanting you to do the work, and now they're wanting to agree on it, well, sorry, but my price is higher now. It may be $1,000 higher, it may be $2,000 higher, depending on how much prices have gone up. Now if it's within that month time and prices go up, then I am eating that cost a little bit. So if you want to cushion it just a little bit, you can, but you don't want to gouge it to your customer. So I try not to gouge them, but if it does go up and prices, increase because of crude oil, or the prices of lumber has gone up because they're, for some stupid reason of a storm and a bunch of trees got knocked out or whatever, then that's on me. I have to cover that cost. But once you hit that 30-day mark, if it's 31 days, you can decide right then and there, well, it's just one day, I'll honor this price, or I'm sorry, I can't, prices went up, I've got to increase my price by $500 or $1,000 or $2,000, whatever prices may have increased by. So that's just a little bit of what I like to put in my contracts to cover my butt. And if you guys like this, comment below and tell me you like it, or tell me something else that you guys do in your contracts when you write them up. I like to learn. I like to all the time figure out different ways of writing contracts up or different ways of doing things. So let me know what you guys like to do, and I might start implementing some of that stuff in my own contracts. So click the subscribe button, click the bell button, so you get the notifications that I've posted a new video, and I'll have some more videos coming later. So let me know what other videos you would also like to know in the comments below. Thanks, guys.